Okay, good morning, everybody. How are you today? I have a very different kind of video today. Usually I stay away from politics and social issues, but I did have a run-in with a person the other day who is what I refer to as a social justice warrior. Now, there is a big difference between being a person who cares about what's happening in the world and being a social justice warrior. And if you've ever had to deal with a social justice warrior, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. This video is not to call this person out personally, but it is to call out this ideology, okay? Because the ideology that stands behind this is very dangerous. And that's what I'm here to call out. And quite honestly, I'm going to use you as an example. If you've ever had to deal with a social justice warrior, you know that they are very, very hard people to deal with. They have to control the conversation. They will speak over you. They will talk loudly. They will put you down and basically make you feel like you are inferior to their intelligence. And it's very difficult to actually have a reasonable conversation with this person because everything you say will be wrong. Okay, so if you're coming at this from a logical or reasoning point of view, everything you say is wrong because everything that they think, everything that they do, and everything that they say is based on emotion. It is completely devoid of logic. It is completely devoid of reasoning. Okay, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but that is the truth. They don't look at how their emotional reaction to a situation that is happening right now is going to affect everybody in the long run. They don't look at that. They look at fixing the problem right now and fixing it with an emotional outlook, okay? But when you fix your problems like that, they never really go away. They're always there. They're always laying under the situation. So anyway, having said that, I have written out a letter today because I had so many things to say that I didn't want to miss out any on these points at all. I had a conversation with this person the other day, and I've been stewing over a lot of the things that we spoke about the other day, and things that, quite honestly, I never really was given a chance to respond to. I was just kind of hit with this wall of social justice issues and never really given the opportunity to refute, to discuss, or to try and rationalize with this person over what we were talking about. So I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not the greatest debater. Okay, I'm the type of person who takes in knowledge and then I think about it. I don't just respond with emotionalism. I think about what I'm hearing, I process it, and then I come back with a response. I'm not a great debater. So you might wait a couple of weeks to hear from me on a subject because I might need to meditate on that. I might need to focus on that for a little bit. I might need to actually do some research on that a little bit. So anyway, it has been a thorn in my side for a couple of days. So I figured, I really don't want to pursue an argument with anybody. I just want to make my points clear about a couple of things. And so it's easier for me to do it like this than to try and call this person and talk to her some more when I already know what the outcome's going to be. But I want to make clear my position on this, and I'm actually going to send this video to her. So hopefully she'll watch it without calling me, 60 seconds into the video and actually listen to what an opposing argument is. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to jump right into my letter now because I've wasted 4 minutes just telling you all of this. So anyways, let me just go ahead and start. Dear Social Justice Warrior, now I am very aware that I probably will not change the way that you think because you have way too much time and emotion invested into your warped perception of this world. But I would like to address a couple of your thoughts, so here we go. Number one, you said all wars that have ever existed were caused by angry white men. And when I try to refute this claim with logic and reason, you call me a racist. Now, this person didn't actually call me a racist. We were talking face to face, and she knows I'm not a racist. I have a black son. I'm not a racist person. I have black friends. Let me tell you something. You can't get any more non-racist than me, okay? So, this person knew better than to try and throw the racism card at me. because that wasn't going to fly with me. So she didn't actually do that, but that's usually where the conversation goes. Logic and reason. You're a racist. You're a bigot. You know, you're a homophobe, whatever the case may be, whatever the issue is we're talking about. So anyways, the reality is, from a biblical standpoint and a biblical understanding, there has always been war. There was war between the Israelites and everyone in early history. These people, by the way, were not white. Go back and do a study on the early Israelites. They were not white people. They were not blonde-haired and blue-eyed white people. Sorry. They come from a Middle East region where life began. Okay? They're not white people. They're dark-skinned people. Whether or not they're black, I don't know. But they are dark-skinned people. So anyways, there was fighting between Jacob and Esau all the way back in the book of Genesis. They were also not white. It was a family feud, if you will, that spills over through history and is the main reason for conflict in the Middle East today. Earliest slavery was implemented by white men? No. Earliest slavery was instituted by people of color. Egyptians, Canaanites, all of these people ran slave trades. And today we see it in Muslim people, okay? So it still continues today globally. Even though the white man has put slavery to bed, everybody else still has slavery. Okay? It's still happening. Whether or not you believe it is irrelevant. It's still happening. It's called human trafficking. Hello? Anyways, not only that, but we see slavery heavily instituted by a group that you people have now taken under your loving SJW wings, known as radical Islam. Now, that's not saying that angry white men didn't come along and take advantage of situations. However, the situation did in fact already exist. You claim that all the wrongs of the world were caused by angry white men is not only ignorant, but it's factually untrue, and actually you're the one looking through racist glasses. You call yourself, this is my second point, you call yourself a feminist, and yet you support Islam. You support bringing in refugees to the country by the hundreds of thousands. Okay, let's talk about how Islam feels about feminism, okay? Because we're going to get into this. We're going to sit here for a little while. So this is an oxymoron of disastrous proportions. Knowing the Torah, I can tell you the difference between the Torah and law, the Torah law and Sharia law. Torah is for the Israelites and anyone who chooses to join them. Sharia is for everyone, and if one chooses not to be part of Islam, they are considered an infidel and are commanded to be killed. The position you hold on Muslims is based purely on emotions. See, you've met a couple Muslim people, as have I, and they seem like wonderful people, and they likely are. However, these types of Muslims are the exception to the rule and would be considered apostate by their own religion. That's what you don't get. Yes, there's wonderful, beautiful Muslims out there, very peaceful and loving people, but they're apostates by their own religion standards. They are infidels themselves. If they're found out how they're living, a lot of them get excommunicated and now are considered an infidel or an apostate and need to be killed as well. There you go. Such a peaceful religion. That means they're on the kill list too. What you don't understand is that these people will fall in line with Sharia if it does get implemented, because they don't want to be killed. Okay, this is exactly why we don't see these peaceful, great Muslims standing up and condemning what the people are doing in the name of their peaceful religion. You don't see those people coming out in droves and condemning what happened at the nightclub in Florida or what happened in San Bernardino. You don't see those people come out and condemn ISIS or Al-Qaeda or any of these other al-Nusra or any of them that are out there perpetrating terror on the world. You will not see these people stand up and condemn their actions, okay? Because that makes them just like us, and we're on the kill list. You don't get it. We're on the kill list. Okay, so anyway, And the fact is, the only Muslims I do see making noise are the ones who have had the courage to escape Islam. And now they speak out trying to warn people like us of the danger that this religion imposes on it. It's different than any other religion in the world because it's imposed on everyone. You don't see this in Christianity. You don't see this in Judaism. You don't see this in Buddhism. You don't see this in Krishna. You see this in radical Islam, period. This need to dominate the entire globe. That's what they believe. Okay? And they're going to do it by outbirthing us. They're going to do it by killing us. They're going to do it by converting us. They're going to do it by whatever means they need to do. And they're going to lie, they're going to cheat, and they're going to steal because they're commanded to. Okay? As a Torah observant Christian, I understand exactly what they're thinking. Okay, just imagine if the Jews stood up today and said, you know what? We're going to go back to Torah rule. We're going to impose the Torah on everybody in the world. We don't care if you're an Israelite or not. You're going to have to become one. How fast would the world turn on the Jews? They're already turning on the Jews, and the Jews are just sitting there doing nothing. Okay, so that's what you don't get. That is the difference between this religion and every other religion on the planet. That's what you guys aren't getting. Okay, where was I? Islam has and does commit horrible atrocities against women all over the world. These are not fabricated stories. And in fact, the stories are so horrific that it's that much harder for you to reconcile your peaceful Muslim friends to this religion. That's why it's difficult for you to see them in the same light, and you are deceived by this. Okay? Islam is one religion. There is no denominations between Islam. It's one religion, okay? They have one Bible and one religion. You have your Orthodox and you have your lukewarm Muslims. That peaceful, sweet, loving Muslim that you know, that person is lukewarm. Okay, by Christian standards, we have our Orthodox and we have our lukewarm Christians. Okay, but Christianity also has a lot of varying in between that lukewarm and that Orthodox. You don't have that with Muslim. You either have Orthodox radical Muslims running around trying to implement Sharia law all over the globe, or you have people who are quiet, silent, and do nothing, which is a bigger evil, which is a bigger crime than the first. Because they're sitting there, they know what they're doing, and they're doing nothing to stop them. Okay? Ballless, soulless. I'm sorry. I'm going to get really candid in this. All right. So anyways, just like Christians today, we have our Orthodox and our lukewarm. However, their laws call for the same thing, whether they like it or not. Okay. And again, you find bad laws in the Torah too, but you need to understand that those laws from the Torah, those are for the Israelites. Those are not for everybody else. You can choose to come under the rule of Yahweh or not. You're not taken by sword point and made to join the Israelites. Okay? You have freedom of choice when it comes to this religion. You do not have freedom of choice when it comes to Muslim. When they show up with their machetes ready to behead you, you better make the right decision or you're dead. Is basically that religion. And I'm sorry if you don't see it that way. That's how the majority of people in this country see this religion. Okay? Because we're looking at it from a logical standpoint. We're not looking at it with our emotional, liberal, bleeding heart glasses on. Okay? Whether you're an apostate Muslim or you are an Orthodox Muslim, the Quran calls for the same punishments of laws. The Quran calls for the same things. It calls for child marriage. It calls for genital mutilation, stoning, covering women from head to toe, stoning of homosexuals, or anyone who falls under that LGBT guidelines. I love you guys, but to them, you are freaks. You are abominations, and you must be killed, okay? Although stoning is commanded, lawbreakers are put to death in horrific fashions, including, but not limited to, being buried alive, having acid thrown on them, being burned alive, being thrown off of buildings, or even beheaded. Okay, that I've heard stories about them attaching a 10-year-old girl to the back of a truck and dragging her through the streets until she was dead. A 10-year-old little girl. This is who you decide you want to fight for? Really? These people are being oppressed, in your opinion? I don't think so. The fact that you can call yourself a humanitarian, a feminist, and an SJW and champion for this religion is appalling on every level, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Sorry. That's how I feel about it. All right, so number 3, my third point. You say that all the terror attacks that are being committed are done by people who are born here, even though they're Muslims, but they're born here. But again, this is not factual, okay? This is not factual. These are just the terrorist attacks from 2015 off of American soil. You have November 12th in Beirut, Islam. October 31 in Egypt, Islam. October 10th in Turkey, Islam. July 20th in Turkey, Islam. Tunisia and southeastern France on June 26th, Islam. April 2nd, Kenya, Islam. March 18th, Tunisia, Islam. January 7th, Paris, Islam. I'm getting pissed off just looking this up. How do you reconcile that this is a peaceful religion? How? Okay, so now that's 1 year over in Europe. That's 1 year. Let's talk about what's been going on here in the United States. And one thing that I want to point out is you said that these people, they might be Muslims, but they're born here. Okay, they're getting radicalized by someone. Okay? They're getting radicalized online by the same people who are doing the bombings in Turkey, in Beirut, in Tunisia, in Kenya. It's the same people. And they're turning our own citizens in this country against us because they're Islam. And they're radicalizing all of these sweet, peaceful, loving Islam people that you're meeting. All these peaceful Muslims that you're meeting that you think are such great people, they're this easy to turn into murderers. Seriously? All right, so let's talk about Denver, Colorado. This is January 1st of 2017. Pastor working as security guard is shot to death by a radicalized Muslim. Fort Lauderdale, we know the one. Oh, wait, this isn't even that one. This is Fort Lauderdale. A convert to Islam guns down 5 innocents in a baggage claim area. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Orlando, Florida. Sorry, read the wrong one. Islamic terrorist massacres 49 people at a gay nightclub. Yeah, he's your buddy. You should go out and protest for him. How about San Bernardino, where the couple shoots up the Christmas party? 14 people dead. Chattanooga, Tennessee, a devout Muslim stages a suicide attack. North Carolina, a 74-year-old man is shot several times in the head by a radicalized ISIS supporter. More Oklahoma, a Sharia advocate beheads a woman on American soil. Seriously? We don't have nothing to see here. Let's put our vagina hats on and go march through the streets. Nothing to see you people kidding me? Let me tell you something. This is exactly why the Antichrist will show up on our soil and stupid people will open. I'm so glad you're here. We've been waiting for you, Jesus. Because you have no logic in your soul. Got no logic. No logic. Okay. Seattle, Washington. 2 homosexuals murdered by an Islamic extremist. Washington, a 30-year-old man murdered by a Muslim. Every single one of these is Muslims, and I can go I've gone all the way back to 2008. I don't need to. You know what? If anybody wants to see all of this stuff, God, let me see what the website is. If anybody wants to see all of these statistics, you can go to graphics.wsj.com, and I'll put this in the link below the video too. That's one of them, and the other one is thereligionofpeace.com, and these are actual timelines, and you can go through and see what these people have been up to. And for you to actually be an American citizen, a woman, a black woman, and actually care about these people is absolutely, I don't even have a word to describe that level of ignorance, of that cognitive dissonance. I can't even think of a word to describe that kind of disconnect with reality. That you would support this group of people. You would support our government bringing them in by tens of thousands. And you made another point too. You made a point about them. They are vetting people, but they're only bringing in the brightest and the smartest. Well, I'm going to get to your next point, which was how we're all lazy here. Why would you want to bring in a bunch more lazy people? Okay? That used to be a criteria in our immigration. It still is in our immigration, that you had to prove that you were going to contribute to society to come to this country. Do you realize that if I want to move to Canada, I have to show that I have a skilled trade to go to Canada? Because they don't just want some mother of 6 kids on welfare coming to Canada to leech off their system. No, they want somebody who's going to go there and provide and contribute to their society. And that is exactly what we do here. It's the same exact concept. Why would you want to bring in a bunch of people who don't want to contribute to your society? Why? So you can turn around and bitch that there's too many lazy people in the country? Are you kidding me? Listen, I work my ass off every day and every year to pay taxes to a government who then turns around and gives it to people who might have jobs, but they lie, they steal, they get Social Security cards, and they're not here legally, and my government gives them money to feed their families and sit at home while their husband goes out with his illegal Social Security card and has 5 jobs. So they're getting jobs. They have income. What are they doing on my welfare system? You know? And then when I have a girlfriend who loses her job and can't feed her family or pay her rent and ends up having to live with me because the welfare system will not take care of her. That's how I look at the problem. Okay? That's the angle I'm looking at this from. Okay? We got a government that is spread so thin, taking care of people who don't belong here, that they can't take care of the people that do belong here. And you drive down the street, and you might not see this in your neighborhood, but you drive down the street and you see a mother and a daughter sleeping in a cardboard box. In the richest country in America, or in the world, I'm sorry, the richest country in the world, I keep saying it. We're the richest country in the world. And we have our own citizens who are sleeping on the streets. Veterans who are ignored of their benefits are living on the streets. Most of them need mental health assistance. They can't even get on welfare. They can't get a job. Nobody in this country wants to hire a veteran. They're damaged. You know, it's like, it's a catch-22. I'm getting way off a topic here. Anyways, I'm going to list the links for the websites that I found these statistics in. So I'm just going to move on. Whether or not these attackers are in the United States, were born here, or later radicalized is irrelevant. The fact is they are being radicalized by believing in lies just like you. Okay, that's what you don't get, is that you're actually being radicalized. You're being radicalized by a warped ideology. Okay? Lies that say that you're not being treated fairly. Lies that say that you're being oppressed and so on. We have blacks, whites, and Mexicans all being radicalized by a terrorist organization called Black Lives Matter right here on American soil. And a lot of you will argue with me that Black Lives Matter is not a terrorist organization. However, Black Lives Matter is responsible for numerous protests in cities where violence has broken out, where property has been vandalized. And I'm sorry, once you start implementing that kind of stuff on people, you're a terrorist organization. And I don't care if it's just a few bad apples doing it. You're the organization. End of discussion. Okay? What are you doing to improve relations with people if all you do is point out the negatives in their life? What are you doing? Instead of empowering people, you're victimizing them. You're making them feel like victims. And when you're a victim, all you can do is whine and cry. You know? That's why we're done listening to you. And you know, I want to make another point. You all sit there and you cry and you protest and you break shit because Donald Trump is your president now. And he is your president, like it or not. Just like Obama was my president for 8 years. Okay, I had to put up and shut up and let him do what he was going to do. And I had to leave it in the hands of my creator that he was going to fulfill his promises to me in protecting me. Okay, I had to leave it to him. But it didn't stop me from one day living basically in fear because I had a president who was doing the sort of things that he was doing behind closed doors. Things that you don't want to believe that he was doing. Okay? You think he was the greatest president in the world. Well, you know what? Now it's your turn to put up and shut up. It's your turn to get out of the way and allow Donald Trump to be whatever kind of president he's going to be. And if you call yourself a believer in God of any kind, I'm sorry. Belief in God means that you trust him. That means that you trust him to work things out for your good. He's going to use Donald Trump in whatever way that he sees fit. And you have no say-so. And you have no power over this situation. And in fact, it is your crying, your whining, your party who made it possible. You guys have gone so low and you're so bad that you made it possible for a reality television host to be the president of the richest country in the world. You have nobody to blame but yourselves. Don't blame me because I went out and pulled the lever for Trump, because I wasn't going to have a murderous crook sitting in the White House just because she's a woman. She's an evil woman. I'm not even going to touch on that one right now. You have nobody to blame but yourselves. Instead of going out and wrecking businesses in your community and setting stuff on fire that doesn't belong to you people, then maybe you should go out and burn your own crap. Because it's your mistakes, it's your whining, it's your crying, it's your political correctness, it's your drama, it's your crap that made it possible for Donald Trump to become the president of the United States. Sorry, that's the truth. And logic hurts. And like my favorite Ben Shapiro always says, facts don't care about your feelings. Okay? I know that stung a little bit, but that's the truth. My last point is this. You say, why are there so many lazy people in this country? That's what you said to me. Why are there so many lazy people in this country? Well, although I do agree with you that we have some extremely lazy people in this country, of every race, of every creed, of every denomination, we have lazy people. We could get into all the things that are killing their hormonal systems and their motivational systems. And I mean, we could talk about water, we could talk about food, we could talk about governments, we could talk about the fact that from the time a young boy is a little boy, they're beat up for being just a boy. God forbid they're a boy and they're black, they're beat up twice as hard. They're constantly set up to be kicked down. Okay, so a lot of people do give up, and that's the reality. A lot of people do give up. But let me tell you something else. That's one of the greatest things about living in a free and open society. Most people in this country work their asses off just to get by. Me and my husband, we work our asses off. Okay, my husband works over full-time. I work part-time. I'm a full-time homeschool teacher, teaching my kids right from wrong, from the Bible. No government indoctrination going on in this house. Okay? We may not be as smart as some people, but we have the ability to think for ourselves. And that's something that most kids don't have in the public school system. Most people work their butts off just to get by. And there's no prize at the end of the day, just the opportunity to pay their bills and feed their families. The beauty of living in a free, that is the beauty of living in a free society. You are free to decide whether or not you will succeed or sit on your butt and wait for somebody to give something to you. Taking from those who bust their butts and giving to those who won't work is not the answer. And that is the left's answer. We're just going to take all the wealth and we're going to spread it around. Okay. There is no wealth down here. Okay. Because this is all that's going to get spread around. You think those politicians, you think those movie stars, you think those rock stars are going to share their money with you? Really? Because that thought process right there is completely devoid of any logic and reason. I'm sorry. So anyways, we were reading the other day, we were doing a social studies lesson. We were reading about the settlers, and it was a light bulb moment for me. It was talking about how the Native Americans believed in sharing the land and the property. That's socialism. And it spoke about how the Europeans believed in owning their own land and being responsible for themselves and their families. Well, that is the fundamentals of conservatism. I hear all the time lately about how this country was stolen from the Native Americans. It was called an invasion, people, and it happens all over the world. It's happened all through history, and in fact, that's how countries were formed. The country wasn't stolen from them. They came here, and they didn't like the way things were. They got into a war and they conquered the Native Americans. They conquered this land. It wasn't about stealing. It was the same way every single nation on this earth has been born. Okay? Most of you guys believe in evolution, by the way. Don't you believe in survival of the fittest? I mean, see, that's the whole thing, is your whole ideology in life is so hypocritical. It's like you believe in this, but you don't believe in that. Well, you can't have this without that. Okay, so this country was invaded by people and conquered by people who believe in taking care of you and your own. And I'm sorry if that sounds callous, but them's the facts. Every country has been formed this way. And here's the reality check, though. Okay, and this is while we're fighting about everything else, this is the reality check. We have a new invasion going on today, and it is Islam invading, conquering, and imposing their religion on everyone in those countries. And guess what? They are even imposing those same things on people who claim to be Muslim, but they're not quite Muslim enough. So they are heading this way, and because of your blindness to the truth, it will be the bloodiest bath in world history. Okay? We'll lose this country again. Okay? So, like it or hate it, for whatever the U.S. has become, if you think capitalism was bad, just wait till you have to deal with Sharia. I'm tired of seeing people spout off about how embarrassed they are to be an American. What? Go live in Pakistan. Go live in Turkey. Hell, go live in Sweden for a week. Then come back and tell me how disgusted you are with America. The only problem that I see in America is we are fighting about all the wrong things. Okay? That's just my 2 cents, and you can take it for whatever it's worth. Okay? But I'm tired of being silent on this issue. I really am. I'm tired of feeling bad because I'm white. I never felt bad because I'm white. I never even paid attention to the fact that I was white. You know, we don't understand how much power is in movies, TV, the news, all of it is there to create a control system over you. Okay? It's all there to create a control system over you. You see all of this stuff on the news and you think it's real. But let me ask you something. Where is it real where you are today? Where is this stuff real where you are today? Because I haven't seen one example of any of this stuff ever in my 47 years of life. I see people treated badly all the time, don't get me wrong. I see people treated unjustly all the time, don't get me wrong. But I don't see people being treated the way that we're being portrayed on the television. I really don't understand why women think that they don't have the same rights as everybody else. I don't understand that. Most women I know run their homes. Most women I know, they can do whatever they want. They have the opportunities to do whatever they want. Now, whether or not they succeed is on them. But I see this victim society rising up. I see people being ashamed of their heritage. I see people being ashamed of being American. I see people being ashamed of their governments. And I'm going to tell you, I don't trust the government as far as I can throw them. Okay? But to be ashamed at the point where we're ready to overthrow our governments, that's not democracy. Okay? We have an elected leader. We have to get out of the way, no matter how upset we are about that leader. We have to get out of the way. And good God, let him do something before you react. He hasn't even been able to complete his cabinet. Okay? Because the left has decided that they were going to do whatever they could do to slow him down and keep him from being a productive president. Well, how does that help me and you? Huh? How does that help me and you? These people are supposed to be supporting us. They're not helping me by delaying a cabinet. They're not helping me one bit. They're hindering our democracy. Okay? And it's got to stop somewhere, somehow. So this is just my opinion on the matter. You know what? I understand everybody's going to have their own opinions. And like I said in the very beginning, I doubt that I will change the way that you feel. Because when you are stuck in that type of ideology, it is very, very hard to get out. But I can tell you, one of the things this lady said to me the other day was, well, you got to see it from the other point of view. I've seen it from the other point of view. It wasn't 20 years ago that I was a liberal. And a bleeding heart one at that. And in fact, I'll never forget getting into a fight with one of my really good friends when I was in my 20s, who called me a bleeding heart liberal. And I was really hurt and offended by it. But he was absolutely right. Because everything that was coming out of my mouth was based on how I felt about a situation. It's not about how we feel. It's about what's the best way, the most logical way to help the situation. That's what it's about. It's not about how I feel. If it went on how I felt about it, I'd be blowing up abortion clinics today. Okay? This is not about our feelings. That's a perfect example. Just think about how the world would look if the conservatives actually started going on how they felt. What if the conservatives started actively protesting things that they felt so strongly against and violently protesting? You never see a violent protest come out of a conservative protest. It doesn't happen because we don't think with our feelings. We don't respond with our feelings. That's why the streets of the country were so quiet after Obama got elected. You think we weren't upset? You think we weren't slamming back beers and cursing up a storm in our homes? And mad at the injustice that just took place in this country? We did, and we had to do it twice. And guess what? All of this pandering and all of this little temper tantrum crap is making sure that Trump gets elected again. Because I can guarantee you it won't be a Democrat. They ain't gonna freaking elect another Democrat in this country for a long time. Because we don't want to hear your whining anymore. All you guys do is snivel and whine and moan, and when you don't get your way, you stomp your feet and you break stuff. You're a 2-year-old with lipstick. That's all you are. We're tired of it. This country is tired of it. And guess what? People like me are raising kids who are tired of it too. In fact, I was watching a video just the other day. It said that the number of conservatives among teenagers is up from 2% to 14%. And we're climbing every day. We're climbing every day because even when our kids don't want to hear it, we're making them hear it. You know? I don't even have regular TV in my house. My kids don't get to watch CNN or Fox or MSNBC or none of that garbage. My kids are watching alternative media. They're getting their news from young conservatives like Paul Joseph Watson, even though he's got a bad mouth sometimes. He's got his points, you know. They're getting their news from Rob Dew. They're getting their news from Hunter Avallone and Philip DeFranco. They're getting their news from younger people who are either conservative or libertarian in their views. They're not hearing about, when they see people freaking out on a college campus over Milo Yiannopoulos coming, they think it's disgusting. Trigglypuff is disgusting to them. You know, what they see, the shutdown of free speech, they see it and they think it's disgusting. They know how that's going to affect their future. You know? Anyways. I gotta go. It's been over 40 minutes. I knew this was going to be a long one because I had so many points to cover, but you know, the bottom line is we got a bunch of people out there making a bunch of noise. You guys got all the money. You go house all the damn immigrants. You know? You go do it. All of you, movie stars, rock stars, I don't care who you are. Unless you've got migrants living in your house right now, I don't want to hear another freaking word out of your disgusting pie hole. I'm sorry. How dare you make me feel bad? I make less than $50,000 a year between me and my husband. And you expect me to help the migrants? You help the migrants. Mr. I'm worth $30 million. You tell me how many people you got living in all of your houses, and then maybe I'll listen to what you have to say. Until then, just shut up. Just shut your face. I'm so sick of listening to you. I won't watch your movies anymore. I can't even listen to some of your musics. You have any idea how crushed I was when Billy Joe Armstrong came out and said the things that he said and went on all of his Trump rants? Billy Joe, shut your face and sing a song and make me like you again. I was disgusted by that. Disgusted. People are just they're coming unhinged. They're coming unhinged. Instead of destroying your career by going on Trump rants, how about you use some of the money that you've made off of the backs of people like me and my children who love you and go do some good for the world? How about that? Huh? All right. This is why I don't do politics very often. I love you all, and I specifically love the person that I'm really making this video for. I love your passion. I love the fact that you care. I just really want you to understand that your passion and your care is needed elsewhere. It's being wasted on the things that you believe. It's being completely wasted. You can talk over me all you want, but the reality is you cannot fight the facts, and the facts do not care about your feelings. They don't care, you know? The reality is these people are running crazy through the world right now. Why they're running crazy through the world right now and getting away with what they're getting away with, we can sit down and have a long biblical discussion about that you probably won't agree with me on that either, because we have completely different ideals about what Christianity is. So, anyways, I'm going to go for now, and I hope that this video is well received. If you have any comments or questions, please do so below. Please try and be respectful of my channel. Please try and be respectful of me, as I try to do for you. So have a wonderful day, and I hope you're all blessed.